Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. um, I'm sitting here about to literally leave for the end of the day of work and had a situation which was so crazy. One thing I can't understand is a person that is in need of assistance because they have had a hard time and get mad when certain things do not work the way they want to as they feel entitled. But I'm like, you have nothing. You should be very grateful for anything that any person do for you. But anyway, I'm sitting here thinking about my weekend. I did not shoot my burner. Really was no excuse. The Chiefs already played and won, but I'm mad that it was as close as it was, and maybe this is not our year. But at least you try until you can't try no more. That's why I also think too. Sometimes it does not work out the way you want to, but you keep trying until there's no more, and then you work on what's next for next year. For me not shooting my burner, I guess what I'm thinking is, I'm kind of big about saving money, and I don't necessarily have to shoot every week. And really, CO2 cartridge is not super expensive, but when you're on budget, everything counts. So I try to shoot like twice a month, and I'll get some more. I have plenty of CO2. I mean, I probably have like 20, but I'm the type of person, if this was a World War II, World War III, I would stockpile a lot of stuff and then have another stockpile on top of that. That's just the person I am. But I was thinking about, I was reading a comment over somebody's page, and of course I understand what they're saying, but I don't understand. And a person was basically looking at reviewing. I'm smart enough now, I don't respond to everybody posts because people just looking for an argument, and I don't want to waste my afternoon diving into an argument that's gonna keep on arguing. People keep on arguing like, what's better, peanut butter or jelly? You could say the perfect answer is going to be somebody that's going to argue that just for the sake of. So I didn't enter into that conversation, but I did watch, and this person said, well, I'm not trusting anything to burn. I'm gonna have my 1911. I totally understand what this person was saying. When it counts, you want something that you know is reliable and dependable and it's going to get the job done. And I am right behind. A year ago, 2 years ago, I would argue that person, well, less lethal is just, the arguments less lethal always say is, well, if you use less lethal, you won't also go to jail. And a lot of situations is avoidable, and you don't need any weapon. And then some situation it is. If you're in a robbery or somebody comes shooting in a situation, I'm going to need that 1911, or I'm going to need that Glock. I'm going to need it. I'm going to trust something that can do the job. But 70% of situations, you don't even need a Glock and you don't need a 1911. Some people want to be super cop and they want to take the law upon their hands because they have they have a gun, and they make a situation worse when it was already being handled. It's like having a situation at your job where it's already stressed, but you're going through emails and going through the proper channel to kind of smooth your way into a subject. And then here come Karen coming and blasting the person and messing up the whole situation which you are been working on for the past 2 days. That's what I'm thinking about when people talk about about guns. Burnout is a great less alternative, but it's not perfect. It has, like anything, it's faulty and it doesn't work 100% of the time. But it works 96% of the time. And with proper placement, most places, if you understand, depending on your state, you cannot have guns like you really want to. They have cracked down so hard on guns in bigger states, and because of a small few minorities that make it so bad that nobody can have guns. So you need something. And that's where the burner comes in. If you in another state outside Texas, some places may have point blank, do not carry firearms because one, you may do something that you totally will regret. You may shoot somebody that was even the person that needed to be shot, and you cannot take back that bullet. And what do they say? For every bullet, you are responsible. So like social media today, everybody's quick to push out or burn out or talk about or shoot or do something without assessing the full situation. And guess what? You cannot take that life back. Burnout, it may hurt, it may not, it may do something very painful, but they're going to live and see another day. Imagine you, Joe Smo, you just got in a fight with your wife who you think is cheating on you, and then you're going to go home, deal with it, you already mad, you pissed off, your manhood is threatened, you feel like you failed as a husband or a father or whatever, and then you have your gun, and then you see 2 people arguing at the gas station. You may not be in the right headspace to be objectively and say, hey, this person's in danger. You may start shooting that person, hey, back off, and you pull that gun and cause a situation that don't need to be a gun for, and you make a situation much worse than it should. The older I get, I'm understanding that wisdom comes from listening. That's true wisdom. True wisdom is learning to listen. Now, if something happens, that's when you step in. That's when you bring your gun. That's when you bring all those things, all your techniques, all your military. But some situations can be solved by talking. Do you remember that situation I was telling you about the church and the person was having a mental health breakdown? What if I brought out my burner was shaped like a gun and say, hey, put your hands down, and then that make his situation much worse because you don't know what the mental situation is, and then cause the situation, and then granted it'll be painful, but I made a situation a whole lot worse than it should be. If you're not a cop or from a military background, or you're not a peace officer, or you're not a person in a line of a security mindset, I think you need to really use wisdom and talk to people versus trying to be a super cop and trying to make it on the news. It's too many people who think that jump into situation and make it worse without thinking. And of course, if you bring that gun out, I hope you have the attorney, and 50% of people don't, to fight that situation. There's people who are going to jail by shooting somebody in their own home, depending on the state. So I'd rather have a less lethal. I put it this way: I'll have a less lethal on the right side, and if I did have a gun, I have a gun in the back. And I judge the situation based upon the situation. Of course, I'm not going to bring a gun to a gunfight. You know what I'm saying? If I have a burner, I'm not going to go against you with a 1911. That's stupid. But most situations, and I work in a field of confrontation, I have taken down maybe 15 to 16 people in my work lifetime. And a lot of the situation was avoidable. A lot of situations are avoidable. It really is. So, sure, trust your 1911. It's gonna get the job done. But I hope and I pray that you choose the right situation and bring out that 1911. Because if you're wrong, you're taking a life that you can't get back. You may go to prison, and you definitely gonna have legal bills and legal fees, and you may gonna lose your job because you in jail for waiting for trial. And if you may not have $100,000 for bail. I definitely don't have $100,000 just sitting for bail. So I'm going to use all different type of method of security. And then I'm going to add, for my case, a gun and being black. I don't want, and depending on the neighborhood, I don't want that on my conscience and make that situation. Because I still got to be there for my family. So use wisdom in everything that you do. Use calmness. I wish I learned that lesson years ago. I wish I learned it years ago. I wish I would have learned it. Instead of talking out of the mouth and then make a situation worse. So that's just something I wanted to say. Have a good one.